On your job application here in Korea, you have to have a photo of yourself, and for Korea, who has this like gender disparity for women, women literally go under the knife. Set my heart This is Gina Bear reporting to you for duty, and today we are going to talk about 25 more things you didn't know about South Korea. Now, in the first video I asked you guys if you wanted a parte dos, and there was an overwhelmingly great response of yes, tell us more. So I'm here to give the people what they want. If you're new to this channel, hi, my name is Gina. I've been an expat abroad for 8.5 years, and Gina Bear is all about kick-ass solo female travel, feminine lifestyle, and luxury travel. So if you like that stuff, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and follow me on Instagram, where of course all of the great stuff goes down. Now, before we jump super into this video, I want to introduce the sponsor of today's video, which is Luisa jewelry. As you guys know, I have partnered with them in the past. I genuinely super love their jewelry. I love their sustainable mission. I love how they are 100% carbon neutral, and that they have luxury pieces starting at $39, so there's something there for everybody. Now, today's pieces that I chose for this video are like super kind of personal to me, and they also make me feel really good about myself. So as you guys know, I'm a big believer in the law of attraction, so I've been putting it out there, you know, into the universe that I want to work full-time as a travel blogger and influencer when I get back to the States, and I'm always looking up to the stars because I'm always dreaming bigger than what is down here on earth. So I chose the Cardi set, which has this beautiful like little horseshoe at the bottom, and I kind of feel like it's for good luck, and it has like a little star with a beautiful stone in the middle. And I also chose the Gabby set, which also is very star themed, and I chose another beautiful necklace with a star and a moon because it reminded me a lot of Sailor Moon. For all of you Moonies out there that are big fans of the show, I'm sure you will definitely catch the reference, and it makes you feel like super celestial and beautiful. Now, Ana Luisa is having a 15% off sale for Valentine's Day, so it's really exciting. And if you want to buy yourself something, you know, treat yourself because it's Valentine's Day, you're a strong woman, you don't need no man, by all means, please check out their website. I will leave links in the description box below and in the first comment just in case you guys are looking. Now, let's jump into this video. So, let's talk about thing numero uno that you didn't know about South Korea. Now, the first thing you didn't know about South Korea is that South Korea is actually super entertaining. Now, let me explain to you. They have all sorts of things to entertain you, you know, like their super fast 4G network where you can get super fast internet for playing internet games at the PC bang, which is the PC room. They have awesome norebangs, which are karaoke rooms. You can get drinks for super cheap if you know where to look. You can go out to nightclubs for super cheap. You can, you know, drink outside of the convenience store for cheap if that's what you want, because drinking on the street is legal here, as I mentioned in my previous video. Seoul is always entertaining, and everywhere in Korea is generally pretty entertaining as long as it's in a big city. Thing number two that you didn't know about South Korea is that their skincare is freaking phenomenal, but their makeup not so much. Now, before you come at me with your torches and pitchforks, let me explain. Now, I feel like Koreans are super creative when it comes to their skincare. Like anything and everything that you can find on planet Earth has been used to make any sort of skincare product, and there's thousands of products to choose from. Now, as you guys know, as humans, we're all different. We don't have the same skin type, so you can just keep trying and finding products until you find one that like literally makes your skin glowy and amazing the way most Koreans have their skin here. That being said, let's go off the makeup. So my problem with the makeup is, one, that the foundations are just way too light. If there are Korean brands in the States, of course they're making darker shades, but I still have my criticisms that the shades don't really match up 100%. And also the eyeshadows are not as pigmented as maybe the ones you would find in the West. I think they have a really long ways to go when it comes to that. Of course, it is quality product, it's just not personally for me. Speaking of makeup, thing numero tres that you didn't know about South Korea is that normal everyday men actually do wear makeup too. So like they'll, you know, fill in their eyebrows, they'll wear their BB cream, they'll wear their foundation. You know, they're all about looking good too, and I am all for that. So it's not just the idols that do it, normal men do too. Thing numero cuatro that you didn't know about South Korea is that South Korea actually isn't that like vegetarian or vegan friendly. Now in Seoul, of course, there are a lot more restaurants popping up because, you know, younger Koreans are wanting to make different food choices. They're not wanting to consume that much meat because pork is the dominant meat that is consumed here. Unfortunately, with a lot of Korean foods, a lot of them are fermented with animal byproducts. So whether that be like crab, fish, any kind of seafood, pork, beef, chicken, there's always some sort of animal byproduct in something. Even in their side dishes that are like vegetables, there's probably something that was an animal that was fermented with it. So I'm just letting you guys know ahead of time, if you do come to Korea, you have to be super conscious of your health choices and be willing to eat at home most of the time, because you're not going to be able to go out and eat with your friends. Alright, thing number 5 that you didn't know about South Korea is that bathroom etiquette is not what you would expect. Now let me explain. So here in Korea, if you're in the women's toilet, you're going to hear some knocking on the door, because maybe the person's not sure if you're in there or not. For me, this always startles me, so of course there's like expletives coming out of my mouth because I'm not used to people like knocking at the door. I'm like, oh, you know? Don't be like me and don't do that. The correct way to answer that knocking is to just knock back and then they'll leave you alone. Speaking of like bathroom etiquette here, a lot of bathrooms do not have toilet paper in the stall. Of course, if you're like in a big establishment like a department store, yes, there's going to be toilet paper in the bathroom. However, in a lot of bathrooms I found that are not in established locations like that do not have toilet paper in there. Usually the toilet paper is located outside of the bathroom, and then you just, you know, take however much you think you need and you go in. Also, a lot of Korean bathrooms don't have soap. I know that's really, really bad, especially at the pandemic we're living in, but I have been to quite a few bathrooms here within the last year, even with what's going on, and they just don't have soap in the bathroom. If they do have soap, it'll be like on a long metal rod, and then the blue soap is on it, and then you have to like rub it, and then there's also other people, you know, you don't know who's been in the bathroom that are rubbing that, and that can't be good for sanitation. So I'm just letting you know, bathroom etiquette here is super weird. Thing number 6 you didn't know about South Korea is that South Korea actually has 12 seasons. And you may be thinking, oh, but Koreans always say they have winter, spring, summer, fall. That is true, but then there's like fake fall, there's fake winter, then there's the dusting in the spring, then there's Hell's Front Porch, which is usually in August, and then there's monsoon season, and it is just a cluster of a bunch of seasons. Refer to said meme to know where we are. Thing number 7 you didn't know about South Korea is that air pollution genuinely is the devil. If you're in Seoul, you think, oh, well, Seoul has like super polluted air, so if I go further down south into Korea, it's not going to be that much pollution. Yes and no. But in South Korea, the sky is tinged with a little bit of gray. Now, if you look up and if you especially go by the mountains, you'll see like this gray fog like floating over, and that is pollution. It doesn't matter how far out of Seoul you get, there will always be pollution. Thing number 8 that you didn't know is that Korea is actually a patriarchal society, and that Korea actually ranks number 1 for gender pay gap between men and women. It's actually 37.1%, and for Korea as a first world country, that is absolutely horrible. And I know you guys have seen on the news recently that Korea got a lot of flack for their 2019 guidelines about what pregnant women should do before they give birth, about how they should iron all their husband's shirts, make sure the laundry's done, make sure there's fresh side dishes, make sure that their husband knows all the takeout delivery numbers, and like pretty much just like do everything to like keep their house going while they're away giving birth. And then they were saying stuff like, when you come back, put your tiny dress up in the closet so it can like motivate you to lose weight. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, why? I feel like with some things in Korea, they're living in like still 1950s. Korea is rapidly changing, but I feel like it's not changing fast enough in regards to topics revolving around women. And number 9 that you didn't know about South Korea is that there's actually a lot of homeless elderly in South Korea. And this is really, really, really freaking sad. Because as you guys know, there's a rapidly decreasing birth rate, but there's a rapidly increasing elderly rate. Korea actually ranks as number 1 with the most homeless elderly in the world. It makes me feel really sad because what a lot of elderly do just to survive is that they have these big giant crates. They collect trash and they take them to the trash collectors, and for 100 grams of trash, it's 100 won. So they're literally collecting all of this trash for 10 cents just so they can survive and eat. It's really, really heartbreaking, and I hope that Korea does something in the future to help their elderly, because these are the people that put Korea on the world stage. So I feel like society should help them out a bit more. Number 10 that you didn't know about South Korea is that there are churches everywhere. Outside of the United States, Korea has the biggest population of super churches. There's 29% of people here in South Korea that identify as Christian, which thankfully has contributed to making Christmas a national holiday, which I can't complain about. Thing number 11 that you didn't know about South Korea is that housing is very expensive. Now, one of the tiers of housing that you can get is called a chonse. Now, with chonse, it's where you put down a huge amount of money, usually starting at $100,000 and above, and you live in the apartment for free. Most people don't have $100,000 just like laying around, so they get their loans from the bank, but the reason why you put down all of this money to live there for free is that the landlord will then in turn take this money and invest it. But you also sign a contract with the landlord that when you move out, you get all of this money back. So I guess people don't really realize how like expensive housing is here, and that like the housing market crisis is actually a big deal here. Now, thing number 12 that you didn't know about South Korea is that there are plastic surgery ads everywhere. Now, despite the government making their promise to get rid of these by 2022, I still see them like on billboards. I see them especially in Gangnam, I see them in Garosu-gil, I see them in Shinsa Station especially. The reason why there's so much plastic surgery here in South Korea, and 1/3 of Korean women between the ages of 19 and 29 have gone under the knife, is because Korea is such a lookist society. So on your job application here in Korea, you have to have a photo of yourself, and for Korea, who has this like gender disparity for women, women literally go under the knife just so they can get a job. That's the reason why plastic surgery ads are everywhere and why everybody wants to get it. So number 13 is actually that hiking is Korea's national sport. Taekwondo, we don't know her because there are so many mountains in Korea. There's like a lot of hiking groups, a lot of hiking tours that go on, and usually people ages 40 and up tend to go on these little hiking excursions. You know, they'll have their fancy hiking shoes, their pants, their clothes, their bags, like their little hiking poles. So number 14 is that eating dog here isn't actually as uncommon as you might actually think. I know like on the inside you're dying a little bit because Fido is our friend, not our food, but unfortunately here in South Korea, a lot of the older generation still views dogs as a source of sustenance and food. And during the 2018 Olympics, President Moon promised to abolish the dog meat trade industry, but like for a lot of older people here, that's their livelihood. So now a lot of people just kind of look the other way when it comes to these dog meat farms, unfortunately. So the number 15 thing that you didn't know here is that cars here have these little blue sponges on the sides, and that's to prevent dings and scrapes. And I think that's so crazy because they come out of that way from the dealer, but then they just never take them off. The number 16 thing you didn't know is that Samsung and Lotte own Korea. Samsung contributes 20% to Korea's huge economy, and that is a heck of a lot of money. If you see things that are Samsung this, Samsung that, Lotte this, Lotte that, everything is Lotte and everything is Samsung here in Korea. The number 17 thing that you didn't know about Korea is that your blood type determines your personality according to Koreans here. Whereas like, you know, in the West, we're all about our star signs, like I'm a Gemini. Based on what your blood type is, it's based on your personality and how people will treat you. It's really insane. You're not going to find one person here in South Korea that doesn't know what their blood type is. Number 18 that you didn't know about South Korea, and this like still infuriates me to this day and I will never get over it, is that people don't pay attention when they walk. I've had people stop in front of me as I'm getting off the train, like right by the doors, like not even caring who's behind them. And like even when they walk on the sidewalk, I would definitely call it organized chaos because people aren't just moving like in one direction and the other direction. It's kind of just like this, and you just kind of gotta watch where you're going. Number 19 is that Koreans live at home until marriage. Now remember when I told you that housing here is like super expensive? This is one of the reasons why they live at home, because in Korea, if a man wants to get married, he needs to provide a house, you know, for his wifey and his future family. So in order to do that, because it's so hard coming out of university to get a job as well, what a man will do is he'll live at home and save money until he can finally, you know, move out and have his own place. So number 20 is that South Korea is mostly homogenous. Now, I want you to wrap your head around how homogenous Korea is. In a 2015 survey, only 1.8 million residents of South Korea were foreigners. So that means out of Korea's like 50 million population, like there's a teeny tiny percent here that are actually foreigners, which is like mind-blowing if you think about it. Number 21 is that mopeds and motorcycles don't follow the regular rules of the road. They have their own rules of the road, okay? Now remember in my previous video how I said delivery is like super revolutionary here? Well, in order for this delivery to be revolutionary and fast, you have to break a few rules along the way. I've seen mopeds and motorcycles like go through crowded plazas, drive on streets, drive on the pathways for creeks. Like they just don't care. They will drive wherever they have to go in order to get where they need to be. in a very fast time. Number 23 is that tattoos are illegal here. Yes, I know, wild. So in Korea, in order to be a tattoo artist, you actually have to go through medical school. But like, who wants to go through medical school just to, you know, make art on somebody's body? Most people don't. And also because tattoos are still so taboo in Korea, like if you go to like a pool, even if it's a private pool that you're paying money for, like you have to wear a rash guard if it is above a certain size, because like people just don't like tattoos here and they just don't think very like highly of them. Also, number 24 is that here in Korea, if you're working here, if you're living here, you should always just ask for forgiveness, not permission. So in America, we kind of give a heads up like, hey, I'm gonna do like this, this, and this, and people are like, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. Koreans love to tell you no. So if you ask them for permission to do something, they'll be like, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. Like, can't do anything. Just do whatever you have to do, and if nobody says anything, great, and if you're not supposed to do it, just apologize. As long as you're not breaking the law or doing anything horrible you're not supposed to be doing, by all means, follow this. And number 25 is, of course, saving face. Now, remember in my last video, I was talking about like nunchi, how you have to like read the aura of the room. Saving face is a way to sort of keep the harmony and the peace in the workplace. So if like you have a problem with a coworker, chances are like they're not really going to confront you on it. Whereas like in America, we probably would do something like that and talk the problem out and then like move past it. But here it's not like that. You don't really talk out the problem. You just kind of like be quiet about it, let it go, and then just never talk about it again. So if you are working here in Korea, try and save face, or just pick and choose your battles properly. So don't forget that Ana Luisa is having their 15% off Valentine's Day sale. So if you want to treat yourself like the queen that you are, by all means check out their sale. I absolutely love their sustainable jewelry, and I love all of their gold pieces that are recycled. Again, the links will be in the description box. And if you like this video and you'd like to see more videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that notification bell. And also don't forget to follow me on Instagram, where all the good stuff goes down, and let me know which things you didn't know about Korea or which things you did know about Korea. And I will talk to y'all lovelies later. Gina Bear, signing out.
I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire.